Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Our scenario is entitled Homecoming, and it was written by Thomas McKeon, who is also our game master. This is episode 3, and Jeff Wilkins will be giving the recap. So, without any further delay, let's begin our journey into the darkness. Jeff?
All right. What have I gotten myself into? That thought keeps bouncing around inside of my head for the last day or so. Just a few days ago, my good buddy William and I were in upstate Maine, looking in on an old cabin in the woods. That sounds like a good title for a book. I should tell William that. Anyway, we no sooner got to the cabin when we got a strange phone call asking if I could meet up with the old gang in New York City, of all places. I asked if William wanted to join in, and he agreed. I hope I don't regret asking him, as it could be dangerous. Were it not for the dangling carrot of promised money to get paid to me and the others, I think I would have turned around and went right back home. The times are tough, and any extra money right now would be a good thing. When you find yourself in the same room with 3 detectives and 1 dead body, Arthur Tucker, that's an adventure right there. We're in some fancy hotel room at the Bellevue, and we've made some gruesome discovery of a man who appears to have been brutally killed with an ice pick. We really put our faith in this new detective named Marcus Finley. He tells us to leave, and he'll report the suicide to the police. He's already made up his mind it's a suicide, and that scares me. I have to be careful not to put my future career as a lawyer in jeopardy if we're going to keep bending the law like this. Finley asked us all to go to another hotel, and he'll call the next day to set up an appointment with his client, which we agreed to. What a dump. I've seen dirty dorm rooms before, but this place is just nasty. It's clear these rooms are rarely used for more than an hour at a time. How did Finley's client put Arthur up in a penthouse room, and yet this one is the complete opposite? I hope we get paid. My guess is that this is coming right out of Finley's pocket and not his client. All 6 of us are forced to spend the night in a single room. As we pull up to the rundown hotel, William catches a glimpse of a car across the street. It seems out of place. The auto store is long since closed at this late hour, but upon looking again, the car is gone. Hawk wakes us in the early morning by screaming from a dream he had. We're all up now. Fowler heads back to the apartment. Why did he stay with us in this crowded one room if he's got an apartment nearby? We spend the day just doing a bit of sightseeing to pass the time until 6:30 when we're supposed to be contacted by Finley or this mysterious client of his. Finley calls and gives us Hawk an address, 63 71st Street in Queens, and tells us to come over now. It occurs to us that that's the same address on Arthur Tucker's ID card. It's the address of Timothy Tucker, his brother. Timothy was Arthur's emergency contact. We head over to the house and meet 2 women, Samantha Tucker and Bethany Tucker. Bethany is Arthur's sister, and Samantha is Timothy's wife, and she's pregnant. Bethany proceeds to tell us a story about 2 weeks ago, March 18th, Timothy disappeared. He's an architect from City Hall. Arthur said he was having dreams about Timothy, and they noticed some men in suits watching the house. Bethany thinks they're following the family. Arthur heard about us from Dexter's radio show, so he reached out to us to try and have us help him find his brother. That's when Bethany drops a bombshell on us. She wants to hire us all to find her missing brother, Timothy. And get this, she's willing to pay us $25 per day each, with a lump sum of $200 at the end when we find him. That's a lot of money. That would solve a lot of my financial problems. While I'm hesitant, I hope this is a chance of a lifetime.
Okay, so we last left off at about 8 o'clock inside of the Tucker's home's living room. Bethany helped Samantha stand up, and they began walking out of the room. Samantha, she stops and she turns to the players and she says, thank you, all of you. And you can see that she's tired, exhausted. She's probably been crying for the past 2 weeks. But she kind of livens up when she says, I'll make dinner for everyone. I know that Mr. Hawk and Mr. and she kind of looks at Felix and doesn't really remember his name. She's kind of waiting for him to say it out loud so they can all kind of get everyone's name in their heads. And she says, well, I know that you all wanted to look around the house, so I'll make some food. Is chicken Alfredo all right? And she kind of just looks for any discontent among the players.
No, that would actually be pretty good. Thank you.
Thank you.
And she smiles, and the two walk out. Finley, he kind of pushes himself off of the door frame. He says, well, I'm going out for a smoke if any of you want to partake. And he pulls out a pack of cigarettes and walks to the front door. And he kind of holds it open for anyone who wants to join him.
Yeah, I'm going to follow him out.
All right. Anyone else?
My intention was to go up to the bedroom and take a look around.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to do that.
Sure. So there are plenty of rooms to look in this house. And if I can, go ahead. Go ahead, Thompson.
I was going to actually go with Hawk. Okay. Help him out. So when we get upstairs, I guess he can check one room. I can check another room. That way we can do things that way.
I will also. How many rooms are upstairs? Because there are 3 rooms.
So let me give you kind of an idea of the layout of the house.
Oh, sorry. Hang on. At the end of last episode, I think I was just about to open the door to his study, wasn't I?
Yes, you wanted to go out to the study.
Yes. Right. Okay. Sorry. I won't
Let me give you the layout of the house really quick. So you guys are currently in the living room, which is adjacent to the foyer. The study connects to the living room. The doors are closed. They're double doors, glass. There's like a curtain kind of there so you can't see inside. There is a hallway that connects to the foyer. It leads to a bathroom, like a guest bathroom downstairs. It's just a sink and a toilet. And there's a closet underneath the stairway that leads up to the second floor. On the second floor, there are 2 bedrooms, the master, which has a connecting bathroom, and a guest room, which the bathroom is just outside. There's also a hallway closet in between the 2 rooms. On the first floor as well, you have the dining room, which is adjacent to the kitchen. The kitchen leads out to the backyard. Okay, pretty simple house. It's relatively small. It's relatively quaint and homey. But like I said, it's small. And you guys kind of gather the idea just by looking around that having a pregnant woman, a type of personality like Bethany, and also Arthur may be a little crowded.
Well, they didn't all live here, though. So
no, but they have been. But you can kind of assume that this has been the
Bethany is in one room, and then Timothy and Samantha are in the other room, right?
Yes. And just to reiterate, Arthur is from Georgia.
Right.
Bethany is from Boston. They both took the train from north and south and came to New York to help find Timothy.
Okay, so it's actually kind of a cozy little place. If they had a baby, then they'd have a room for the baby.
Yes. So you can see that careful time and planning went into this, but that's all kind of gone out the window with Timothy disappearing. Okay, so let's get an idea of where everyone wants to go. Hawk, Thompson, and Fowler want to go upstairs. Epstein wants... Oh, go ahead.
You know what? Since you go upstairs, I will follow Felix into the study.
Okay. All right.
I think William would want to go there too, with his interest in books and library and all that kind of thing. So.
All right. And that leaves you, Tommy.
You said Samantha's going to make dinner?
Yes.
Okay.
Samantha, at this point, they've entered into the dining room. Bethany has kind of helped the wobbling Samantha into the kitchen where she will be cooking. Felix is kind of holding the door waiting for someone to come out, but in a few seconds he's just going to shrug and close the door behind him and just smoke out on the deck.
I'm actually going to get up and offer to help the women in the kitchen.
Okay. So we will have Tommy in the kitchen. Okay. So let's start with the most people. So let's start with the study. All right. So who is taking lead right now? Can I kind of ask? Who opens the door?
Well, I thought Felix was heading first, but
to the
I'm
study,
happy
yes.
to. Yeah, I'm happy
I've
to.
just put on my
happy to.
kid gloves to open it, I think, at the end of
Yeah,
last
that's right.
Okay. So Felix, you push open the doors. Immediately, you're hit by the stench of cigar smoke. This is clearly where he spent most of his time, and this is probably where he did all of his vices.
stale
So it's
cigar smoke.
yeah. So and it's also probably like very cheap cigars, like 5-cent cigars that he probably got at the grocer down the street. So it doesn't smell particularly good in here. Okay. So, so to the left are rows of bookshelves, okay? They're filled with hardcover books. There's a small desk, and then there's a small like sitting area, probably where he did his drinking or his smoking when, he was alone. It's pretty small. There's also a window that looks out into the backyard, and you can see that the backyard is lush. Even though it's like you're just pulling out of spring, there's like 2 maple trees in the back, flower garden with like forget-me-not flowers so they haven't died. So it's very beautiful and very lush, and someone has been taking care of it. What would you guys like to do?
It's a very tasteful house, isn't it? I think I'd like to begin by subtly rifling through, if one can subtly rifling through the desk, I think.
Okay, so you're going to go over to the desk. What about William and Fowler?
Is there any, like, books around, like, the table or anything like that?
Just on like a cursory glance, there's books on the desk. The desk is relatively clean. Timothy was obviously a very well-organized person. But they're mainly books about architecture or art. You can also see, as you're kind of looking over the desk, Fowler, and nothing, like I said, nothing too intense. But you see that like there are cardboard rolls with tags on them. They're probably schematics. He was an architect, so there's probably like wax paper in them, and he probably did architectural sketches on them. And there's about, I think, like 6 or 7. So what about you, William? What are you doing?
Are there books on the shelves, on the walls, and are they kind of academic and architecture and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, when just glancing over it, there's architecture books. Yeah, there's tons of books. You can see like Jude the Obscure. You can see you see mythology books. There's books there. He was very varied in what he read.
So
mainly art.
So William wants to kind of gravitate towards maybe the things that are saying something about Timothy's personal interests. I remember one of the women said that he was wanted to be an artist. That's what he really wanted to do. So yeah. I'm browsing through the mythology and the art books and things to see if I can pick up anything about what he was interested in.
Sure. Go ahead and give me a library use roll.
Pass.
Okay. So let me just pull this up because I'm okay. So you're looking through the books as Felix moves over to the desk and Fowler's kind of just like in the middle, kind of looking around. And what you find is a book whose spine doesn't have English lettering. It's like a green book, very old, with gold trimming and its symbols. It looks like Arabic.
Okay, well, I don't know any Arabic. So as I open the book, flick through it, is there anything any notations in English or even Latin? I know some Latin. Is there anything that I can pick up?
Well, when you first open the book, the very first thing you see is on the inside cover, there's a handwritten note. It is in Arabic. I want to pull it up for you. Very short and very sweet. You can't read it.
And it's handwritten, yeah.
It's handwritten, very old, very dry ink. Okay.
Okay, yeah, sure. If I can't kind of read anything else, I'll maybe hold on to it and ask one of the ladies about it.
Sure. Then, in flipping through the pages, you see that inside the printed lettering is Arabic. However, someone has meticulously translated to English beneath the words. So with a double spacing in between the lines, there is English translations. And you're just casually kind of flipping through it. And you find a excerpt towards the back that kind of sticks out with you. You were listening to Hawk's conversation, Hawk and Thompson's conversation last night or this morning.
Sure.
So I'm going to send you something. Okay?
Yep.
All right. And you can decide whether or not you want to read it aloud for everyone. But, okay. But there you go. Okay. I've sent it to your email. You will see it in your email. And you can decide whether or not you're going to read it aloud for Felix and Fowler. But while you're looking through that and getting it, let's move on to Felix, who has gone over to the desk. So yeah, there's nothing really of any importance in the desk except for a checkbook, Felix. Why would he have left that?
Well, I'll have a look at the most recent stub.
The most recent stub for the last check he's written, it's written out for $300, which is nearly $5,000, to a W. Darby. It was written on March 17th.
$300, did you say?
Yes, which is in today's terms nearly 5,000.
Sorry, you said W. Darby?
W. Darby.
Okay, thanks.
March the 17th. So lots of money. There's no indication on it of what it was for?
Nope, no memo, no nothing. Nothing in the stub.
What about the stub before that? Is that of any interest?
Not really. It's a rather small thing. And there is an actual memo. It says groceries. So it's rather small. He was very meticulous, apparently, in his accounting. Speaking of accounting, do you, Felix, because you found it, have accounting or law?
Well, only at base.
That won't do. You can bring it to the other characters if you want. But you have it in your possession. So, William, you go ahead, Fowler. I cannot hear.
No, I was just trying to say to Felix, hey, over here I am.
Oh, okay. Before I go to Fowler, though, William, do you want to read aloud?
Yeah, and I also, just while the guys were doing stuff there, did an occult roll and passed, if that gives us any other help in terms of my own background. So I just say, gentlemen, there's a really strange little book here in Arabic that looks like it's a very old one. It looks like it's been well read, but it looks like, I suspect from the handwriting, it's probably Timothy Tucker. And he's translated some of it. It's very kind of occult in nature. Let me just give you a little snippet. Beyond the gates of your great kingdom, far past the greenish waves of the Serenian, are the drifting thoughts of man and gods. The mind of the soul, always rising and lifting like the waves of the Nile, dwells here when Tutu and Bast see fit. Like a guiding hand among the stars, Bast may bring forth visions constructed by Tutu in the black abyss of dream. Rarest are these, my curious friends. And then it goes on to talk about commoner dreams from the darkest of place, a warning or trick, beckoning forth those who enact great evils. I'm remembering, I just kind of, as I'm reading that, I'm remembering that Arthur was so troubled by dreams about his brother. Fear what's to come from dreams, sayest I, for rarely are there blessings in prophecy. Consider many to be messages from the forgotten or calls from the darkness reaching towards mankind with ill intent. Consider my words like honey, O priests. Do not look to the stars, to your dreams, or even to the bones when the world trembles and you fear death. Look to yourselves, for even now there are gods unlike I, such as the twisting form of the beast. Set. He who hides among men that care little for your world and people. Ponder your dreams carefully, O priests, for they are gifts from gods or warnings from the damned. In the end, all these things will reveal themselves in time. William's absolutely fascinated by that, and the fact that we had that conversation last night or in the early hours about dreams. So.
Do you show the actual text to anybody else?
I ask the guys, does anybody know any Arabic, or do we know anybody that knows languages in our group?
No, I come closer to you when you're, as soon as you're speaking. I said, no, but I could probably find somebody that can probably translate your little note, if that can help.
Well, what about Thompson? He's an egghead.
Yeah.
He maybe knows someone.
Arab?
The professor, that makes sense.
Oh, well, I mean, he's an archaeologist. He's bound to know someone who speaks Arab.
Probably.
Felix, do you look at the text?
Oh, I glanced at it.
William said that the handwriting is probably of Timothy Tucker. You have his checkbook. The handwriting is different.
I'm going to point that out. Look, hang on a minute. Look, I've his checkbook here. That's not him. Look, look at this. The writing's different.
I just thought it was quite neat. So yeah, it could be. Remember, Arthur was the guy that was having the frightening dreams.
Wait, you also saw Arthur's handwriting, and that doesn't match either.
Oh.
Weird.
Somebody else.
Yeah, weird.
We need to ask the professor, because if he knows Egyptology, which I'm not very knowledgeable on, is Set or Bast, is that a woman? Do you remember Arthur was going on about the woman with the drawings with the black body and the red eyes?
Could that be Basset?
Well, I know. Bast is a cat, because I've used some Egyptian symbology in my act.
I think I'll need to show it to the professor.
You know what?
I
go out and
more than me.
I go out of the study and I'm like, hey, Henry Thompson, you should come down here. This is really important. You should come down here. It's really important.
So you hear that, but Fowler, as you're turning back, you see that right before the door, because you turned around, so you're now seeing the wall that's blocking the study to the living room, and you see a picture of it's a beautiful landscape oil painting, and it appears to be of an orchard, with African American workers picking fruit from trees and putting them into baskets. Because you saw the checkbook and you saw his signature, you see in the bottom right-hand corner is a signature. It's Timothy's. Can you give me a spot hidden, Fowler?
Yes, I can give you a spot hidden. And I pass.
The picture is sticking out from the wall. The canvas is actually like distended out from the wall.
Okay. Then you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna basically, as carefully as I can, I'm gonna pick, how heavy is this painting?
It's not heavy at all. It's just canvas.
Okay, I'll pick it up, or I'll take it off its hinges or whatever.
Yeah, you take it off the
hook, and I will say, hey, I thought I'd seen something here.
So yeah, William and Felix, you literally just watched Fowler pull up this painting off the wall, and behind the wall is a safe. It's been inserted into the wall. Dr. Thompson, you did hear Fowler call you. Do you want to actually act and come downstairs, or do you want to just focus on upstairs?
Well, we haven't done upstairs yet, so this would happen after we had done.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I guess we could sort of backtrack a bit and let us do what we were doing upstairs, and then I'll go down.
Yeah. Yes, the cops have come. You found the secret safe. All the cops are just swarming the place now. Yeah, no, we could definitely do that now. Okay, so let's go to the upstairs. All right. So you two walk upstairs. You see directly up the stairs, Hawk and Thompson, is the bathroom. The door is open. Directly to your right is a bedroom. Down the hall a little ways is another bedroom. And then there's, of course, the hallway closet. Where would you like to go, Thompson? Let's start with Thompson first.
Well, actually, you can start with Hawk because wherever Hawk was going, I was going to.
Okay, so Hawk, it's you, my man.
Well, I tend to turn to the right, so when I get to the top of the stairs, I turn to the right and I head to that bedroom first.
Okay.
And what I'll do is I'll sort of glance in and assess whether this is the couple's bedroom or where Bethany is staying.
Okay, so you kind of glance in. The door is slightly cracked. Inside is what appears to be an unfinished nursery. The walls are being painted, like hand painted into beautiful like landscapes. It's dirty, however. You can see that there's still tarps on the ground and there's paint buckets that are closed, but you can see the dried paint on them. There are tins off to the side. You also see that there is suitcases off in one corner, and then the mattress, which is pressed up against the western wall. Okay. So this is clearly a guest bedroom.
Yeah, wrong bedroom. So I turn around. I now Thompson's behind me. Now he's in front of me. I say, that's the bedroom we want.
Before you do that, I would like you to do a power roll.
Both of us?
Just Hawk.
01.
Okay. You're fine.
This is while he's reading that thing downstairs, and I'm like, ah! No.
You're all good.
All right. So now Thompson is walking ahead of me towards the bedroom.
Yes. All right. So, Thompson, you are going to enter into the master bedroom, passing by the bathroom and the hallway closet. Okay. So, Do you want to just kind of, the door is slightly ajar. Do you want to glance inside or do you want to actually enter?
I'll enter. I mean, we have permission to be up here, so yeah, I'll enter.
Okay. So it's really quite cozy. There's a king-size bed, 2 nightstands. It's hardwood floor, Turkish rug on the floor. The door to the bathroom is closed. There's also what appears to be a small closet. And then in the corner of the room, just beside the window that overlooks the street, you see an easel with a painting that's unfinished, and then a stack of paintings that are kind of just like pushed up against the wall. They're clearly sitting there to dry because
is it oil paint? I'll examine.
Yeah, they're oil paintings. With
I don't know
with
if they
oil,
would have invented acrylic yet, so.
yeah, with oil paintings, Tom can probably.
Well, I know. I mean, I've done oil painting.
Okay.
Some of them quite talented artists, aren't they?
Yes, it's very, very intense, very deep.
They must be doing the nursery.
Yeah, I'll walk up and touch the painting to see how dry it is. To try to ascertain how long ago it's been painted, because I know it takes about a good month for it to dry.
It could take a year.
Yeah, it could take a year.
Well, to complete
it's
but
it's still wet. I mean, it's unfinished. And it's still.
I mean,
wet.
like, is it? I mean, does it feel like it was painted recently, or like within the last few weeks, or has it?
Oh
been...
yeah.
Okay.
You can kind of gauge that.
Okay.
All right. Tom, as you're walking into the room, you can see that on one of the nightstands to the right of the bed, you see that that there's a novel with the cover is very gray and it's a very minimalistic facial feature, and the title is We, and the name of the author is Zamayatan. Venji Zamayatan. I am probably butchering that name. It is Russian.
Why don't you write it in the chat so that?
Of course, I can do that.
Kind of jumped a little bit there, and
sure. Let me.
I'm also going to say to Henry, Henry, I'm going to take this nightstand. You want to take the other one on the other side?
Yeah, we're like searching that way, more or less. If he takes the side, I'll take another.
Okay, so you're leaving the paintings. Did you look through the stack or?
I'll I mean, if I'm on that side of the room, I will.
He's already doing that, so he can keep doing that.
Yeah.
I have just sent you over the name of the author. The book is called We, by a Russian name that I can't pronounce.
Yevgeny
Zamyatin.
Zamyatin, right.
All right. So yeah, and it's just it's a science fiction novel, You pick it up and it's in English, despite the Russian author. But Thompson, so you're looking at the paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
yeah, was it we or weed?
We, as in you, I,
okay.
Mick, everybody. We.
Okay.
Thompson, as you're looking through the stack, the most recent finished painting kind of stands out to you.
How so?
It's just, there's something about it. The level of detail is pretty. The other paintings seem like they were kind of like a casual, like, I'm going to paint something this week. This one seems like a lot of time work went into it. It's of a house on a hill. It's surrounded by a very dense forest. The house is enormous. It's a mansion, colonial style, slightly aged.
Okay, I will take a little time to examine this painting a bit more closely. I'll look for hidden details more or less.
Yeah, it looks. You're looking through the painting, very very detailed, and you both are kind of off in your own thing, and you hear a voice say, "Timothy really knew how to capture a moment on the canvas." It's Bethany. She's standing in the doorway, kind of looking at you, Thompson.
So Timothy was the artist. He's quite good.
She smiles and says, "He is very good."
Who's the science fiction fan?
She then shrugs and says, I assume Samantha." She kind of walks over to the painting and kind of plucks it up. It's that one is relatively dry, and she kind of plucks it up and holds it out and says, "Such a dank place." And she turns to the two of you and says, "This is where we grew up." And she kind of sets it back down on the ground. Finding everything all right, Mr. Hawk? And she kind of glances at you, Thompson. She doesn't fully know your name yet.
Yes, I hope you don't mind us going through this stuff. We don't mean to snoop, but that's kind of our job.
Well, I understand. Mr. Finley did the exact same thing when we hired him on. She kind of is just like staring at you, waiting for either you to acknowledge her or she's just going to say, I'm leaving, goodbye. Just kind of stand there with her arms crossed.
Well, I've really just got started. I've just picked up a book. I haven't even looked in the drawer of the nightstand yet.
Right.
That's my next step.
And she just stands there. She's just watching. She kind of even presses her back up against the wall, and she's just watching you work. She wants to make sure you're doing your job, essentially. All right. So, Thompson, what do you want to do now?
All right. So, the rest of the paintings you said were just sort of more or less throwaways.
Oh yeah, they're more or less throwaways. There's one of the street. There's one of the New York skyline. It's just kind of like, okay, whatever. That one stands out just because there's so much rich detail to it. It's a dark house that sits on top of a hill, surrounded by a forest. Very imposing.
No, it's just so that's the feeling I'm getting off of this. Okay.
Yes, it's a very imposing, very dreadful, dank, dark feeling that you get when you look at it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll turn my attention away from the painting since I'm starting to get a little chilled from it. And I'll start looking through the nightstand and looking through, see if there's any sort of papers or correspondence that he may have had that might clue us into what might have happened with him.
No, there's nothing really in the nightstand on his side, other than like on top of the nightstand, you see that there's a book. And the book is for it's a collection of paintings by Jules Burton. Tom, do you know?
I'll flip through it to see if there's anything that's similar to the painting that gave me such an ill effect.
Similar style. Similar style. Realism. Very similar style.
Is there an author to this book?
Yeah, but it's like a throwaway name. It's mainly like a publishing company that just produced it.
Okay. And is this from one particular artist or is it from multiple?
Yes, Jules Breton.
Okay.
19th century French painter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably I don't have anything with art history, so I wouldn't.
You a big art fan there, Henry?
No, but I don't know. Something about this painting is
What?
setting me at and on the ease. So
which painting? Which one?
I'll point out the painting that affected me.
Yeah, it's the same one that Bethany picked up and made a comment about.
Well, I was busy looking at the book.
And she kind of she's still standing there, so she kind of points at the book and says, one of Timothy's favorites.
It's kind of dark.
Hmm.
Is there anything in my drawer?
No, it's just like a hairbrush. This is clearly Samantha's side of the
right.
Yeah, it's just like a hairbrush.
I'll check under the bed. Why not?
Well, I was going to check between the mattresses.
Bethany kind of raises an eyebrow as you guys do this. You don't find anything, and Bethany then says, "Why exactly would Timothy put something underneath?"
Well, we're just being thorough.
And she kind of
hide it. That's why.
She kind of grimaces.
Oh well, here's the thing. We're investigating, and we don't want to overlook anything. The smallest clue could lead us to where he is. So.
I would like to, considering that, I would like to do a spot hidden to see if there's something that might click as far as a clue, an insight into anything that might stand out.
No, not really. Not in this room, at least.
All right.
And that's when, Henry, you hear Fowler shout from downstairs. So you can act, like I said, you can act on that if you'd like, or you can just stay up here.
Well, if there's nothing else left up here, I mean, I'll check the closet.
I'll check the bathroom. Why don't you go and see what Fowler wants?
Okay. Well, before I leave, I will check the closet. But sure.
The hallway closet.
Is it a built-in closet or is it a wardrobe?
Well, in the bedroom, it is just a built-in closet. The same goes with the hallway closet. Which one do you mean, hallway or bedroom?
The bedroom. I'll check the hallway on my way out. But
okay,
since I'm in the bedroom, I'll check that one.
Sure. There's nothing really in here. Just suits and dresses. And there's a stack of dresses on the floor. Clearly, Samantha doesn't fit in them anymore, and the ones hanging up are maternity clothes.
Okay. With the suits, may seem a bit strange to Samantha, but I will check like the lining of the pockets to make sure there's no letters or anything of interest in there. Like I said, thorough search before I leave.
Yeah, and she kind of just doesn't do anything. Eventually, she grows tired of watching you and kind of sighs, and then walks out of the room. Tom, go ahead.
I'm going to check the bathroom.
The guest bathroom or the main bedroom?
Bathroom in the bedroom.
Okay. You open the door. There's nothing really in here. It's just the sink is cluttered. Makeup and
check in the medicine cabinet. Check underneath the sink. Check everywhere.
So, Hawk, you open up the medicine cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
Pill bottles everywhere.
Okay.
There are like prenatal vitamins that are prescribed to Bethany, but when you're looking through them, Timothy Tucker, like rows and rows and rows of orange bottles. Okay.
I'm gonna look through them all.
Okay. Do you have a medicine?
Do I have a medicine?
Do you have a medicine or natural world? Either will work.
I've got a little bit of natural world.
Go ahead and roll that for me then.
No. 87.
All right. Maybe someone else can help you with that one.
But I would say that if there was something there that was fairly common, laudanum or that I'd immediately know that.
Yeah. Stomach soothers. is what you're finding a lot of. You find like 3 or 4 bottles, but that doesn't make up for all the other bottles.
Like milk of magnesia and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah, so I probably just immediately figure that she gets nauseous in the morning. And
oh no, it's for Timothy.
Oh, well, just because it's got his name on it doesn't mean that it's necessarily for him.
True, but
30s, but
true, but OBGYNs existed. There are premium vitamins in there.
So he had a stomach problem, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, I'll just file that. I'll file more or less what I see in the back of my head. If there's anything I don't understand, like hydrochlorothiazide or something like that, I'll make a little note of it and I'll find a doctor and ask him later what the hell that is.
The majority of the pill bottles in there are things that you have no clue what they are.
Well, then I will write some of them down.
Okay.
We'll just assume that I've written them down.
Sure. I imagine you pull out a notebook and you're writing.
And maybe which pharmacy they came from.
Sure. And it looks like the prescription was filled at the grocer right down the street. It's the same. The address is there, and it's literally like down the block. Okay. Okay, so Thompson, you said we already checked the main closet. You're walking out. What else did you want to do?
I wanted to, before I head downstairs, or as I'm heading downstairs, I did want to check the closet in the hallway.
Okay. All right. So that is not there. All right. Go ahead and give me a luck roll.
Oh boy, luck?
Yes.
Ever since I joined this little investigation, my luck has been shite. So.
How about a dex roll?
Oh, that is a 25 out of 50. That's a hard roll.
All right. Yeah. So when you open the hallway closet,
don't tell me something jumps out at me.
No, something you hear like a rustle, and something on the top shelf falls down. Okay. It is it's like a shoebox, and it hits the ground, and something metal comes out and rolls out on the hardwood floor of the hallway. It's kind of wrapped up in this green paper.
I'll of course pick it up. I'll examine it when I do pick it up.
All right. What falls out? What you pick up and what you're looking through? It appears to be like a necklace, like a medallion almost. It appears to be made of the ornament itself. Appears to be made of brass. And etched into this brass token, this brass medallion, is a 6-pointed star. There are sigils and symbols that are carved into the points. There's a lot of fine craftsmanship that went into this. And you see that there's a little note attached. It's been wrapped by a piece of twine to the chain. By opening it, it reads, "My dearest Timothy, may my gifts lift your heart and spirit. Keep this close to you and know that I think of you often. Sincerely, Tally." You can, oh, okay, he disappeared. So Jeff, let's move on to you.
That's a powerful medallion.
We pushed him out. All right, okay. So Tom's is in the hallway. He's just found this medallion. Let's move on to Tommy. So Tommy, you make your way out of the living room, and because you're still on the first floor, I want to point out that as you stand up and everyone kind of makes their way through everything, you notice, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but over the fireplace of the living room is this beautiful portrait of Samantha. It's a beautiful oil painting that's framed up in this beautiful brass framework. And it is of Samantha. So you can obviously assume that it is Timothy's work. Can I also have you do a spot hidden?
Oh, man. I saw a double 0 and thought, ooh, this is good. And then I saw the third 0. So that's 100.
Okay. So, despite the 100, there's a bureau right next to the entryway into the foyer. And there's pictures all over. There's pictures of Samantha as a young girl, Samantha as a teenager, Samantha with their family. And you also see that there are pictures of Timothy. There's pictures of Timothy and Samantha. Go ahead and make me one intelligence roll really quick. We're going to make a second one here in a little bit. Give me one.
Yeah, that's better. An 05.
There are no pictures of Timothy as a child.
Okay.
No pictures of him with family, no pictures of him as a child. It's just literally him as an adult. So with his paper, he's got a very paper thin mustache, kind of longer hair. He looks very prim and proper. You also find there's a picture towards the end corner of the bureau that there is a picture of Bethany, Arthur, and Timothy, clearly somewhere warm, maybe Georgia, maybe they were visiting Arthur, and they're all smiling and sitting down on a bench together. Give me another intelligence roll.
That is a regular pass.
They all appear in the photo to be the same age. And there are some features about them that go further beyond what you would consider a sibling resemblance. All right. So with that, you wanted to go to the kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay. So Bethany's upstairs, but you can see that as you pass into the dining room, she was preparing to do like work with expenses. She just hired on like 7 people, so she's budgeting the expenses per day and seeing how much money they have in the account and everything like that. But she's kind of left that all over the table. It's a cozy little dining room, though. There's a little orchid plant that's kind of growing out of a little pot in the very center of the table. Go ahead and give me another spot hidden.
39 is a regular pass.
Something catches you out of the corner of your eye through the window. Do you turn to look and see what it is, or do you just kind of ignore it?
Oh, yeah, I would look.
What you see is that there's a house, like, directly across the street. And there's an old woman that's kind of walking into what looks through the window, what looks like her dining room. Very thin, bent over. Well, she kind of shuffles in. And that's the movement that you saw. And you're kind of just staring at her. And she turns, and she kind of like stands up, and she turns and she looks over at you. She notices you staring at her, and with a very like mean, sour look in her, you can see through the window. It's very cluttered and very like nasty. You see her like shuffle over to the window and pull the drapes. Can I get another spot hidden from you, Tommy?
Yes, 19.
You kind of wait there for a second, and you see in the very middle of the curtain, it kind of split open, and you can just see 2 eyes, and they're just like watching you from across the street.
Yeah. little creepy, so I'm just going to try to like dodge out of the. I know she saw me, but I'm still going to make.
Yeah.
She didn't.
Okay, so you enter into the kitchen. Smells wonderful. It smells great. It is a very small kitchen, polished white tiles. There's a little kitchen island with pots and pans kind of all over. It's a traditional 1930s American kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Samantha, who is, like I said, very, very pregnant, she's wearing an apron and kind of just like bending back as she's preparing dinner. She's literally like putting noodles into a pot and cutting the chicken and creating the Alfredo sauce. And you kind of step inside and she turns and smiles and says, "Oh, hello."
Hello, Miss Samantha. I just came out to offer you some help, see if I could help out in cooking in any way.
And she kind of smiles lightly and kind of just like brushes like this big clump of red hair out of her face and kind of tries to put it back in a bun. Which is, well, do you have any experience with cooking, young man?
Well, not exactly, but I could set a table.
She kind of smiles and says, "Well, why don't you cut the chicken over there? Just cut it into small pieces. Not dice them, but small little cubes for me."
I could do that.
And she smiles as she begins whipping up the sauce. She's kind of just in her own world, so you're gonna have to kind of make any interaction with her.
Yeah. First, I'll wash my hands, and then
Okay.
I'll try to make some general small talk about the cold weather we've been having in April.
Well, let's role play it, my bro. This is a role playing game. Come on.
So, Miss Samantha, what do you think about this cold weather we've been having?
And she smiles and says, "Oh, I think it's relatively nice, though I don't think that my garden is having it likes it as much as I do." Where are you from? I thought you were from New York.
I'm actually up from Massachusetts area.
And she kind of lightly, like I said, she's very withdrawn, very soft spoken. So she kind of lightly laughs and says, "Well, I thought that you'd be used to the cold up there."
Not in April, though. By this time, I'm ready for springtime to get here.
She then kind of, because you wash your hands, and she says, "Well, I'm surprised that a man like you washed your hands. Timothy never washes his hands when he prepares cooking." and with that, you can see that there, she said Timothy's name, and then it's just like a needle to the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, "So you're a little young to be a private investigator."
Yeah, I'm not exactly a private investigator, I guess. This ragtag group of ours is sort of all over the place. But we had quite an adventure from before, and I feel like I've been learning from Dexter and Mr. Hawk, and so
that was the Raidley case. Me and Bethany did a little bit of research on you after Marcus came and told us that he found you in Arthur's apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we had no idea that Arthur was actually going to hire anyone, but when he told us who it was, we did a little bit of research, and after all, that's why we've hired you.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of she's pouring she's pouring the water into a pot to boil, which is awful. What happened to Mr. Raidley?
Yes.
Go ahead, Tommy.
Yeah, no, I was going to say some of the things that happened I'm not too keen to talk about.
And she kind of nods and says, "I understand. When you're not," and she kind of shakes her head a little bit, and when you're not investigating, what do you do? Because you're young.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We all, in our group here, we all kind of bring something unique to the table, and myself, I'm actually a law student up at Miskatonic University.
Oh, Miskatonic. That's a pretty prestigious school up north.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's no Columbia, my alma mater, and she kind of snickers at that.
Oh, okay.
And she says, "Well, Bethany is from Boston. She's a showroom singer, actually.
Oh.
And she kind of looks around to make sure that Bethany isn't there or anybody else. She says, "You probably can't tell. She's so stern."
Yeah, I don't think I would have ever guessed that.
No, she's got a lovely voice. She's a very kind person at heart. She's half the reason why I'm still together after everything that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of not shoos you, but kind of like steps in and takes control and just says, watch the pot and make sure that it's boiling. After about 7 minutes, go ahead and take one noodle out and see if it's done.
Okay, I can do that.
She then says, and of course, Arthur was a vacuum salesman, as I told you. Me, and she kind of shrugs and says, I dabble in a few things. Mainly, I garden, and I garden, in fact, so much. I got my degree at Columbia in English, so I just took my degree and began writing about gardening, and now I'm published a few times. It's my job. But my passion is botany and gardening. I have a real affinity for plants.
Oh, that's great. You might want to talk with my friend William. He's actually going to school also for literature.
Really? I'd be very interested in speaking with him. Maybe, talk to him about some career plans. I know that when I was your age, I just thought, I'd be the next great female science fiction horror writer, but now I'm more grounded.
Plenty of time.
Are there any more questions that you have now that we have Thompson back? And we kind of left on that very large, very odd thing. Are there any questions that you have for Samantha before we get back to him?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up 2 points. One was so I wanted to ask Samantha, how did you come about knowing or hiring Mr. Finley?
Oh, well, he was really recommended by the detective who was originally, and she kind of rolls her eyes, originally looking into Timothy's case. Finley has worked, Finley and his partner, well, former partner, they worked together with the police a few times. And so he was highly recommended. But now we're dealing with a lot. We're dealing with people following us, and people are trying to find Timothy, and it's just there's a lot happening. And so when Finley came and said that he had other possible people to bring onto the case, I jumped at the chance immediately. Bethany was a little bit more tentative on that. Mm-hmm. But honestly, the more people, the better.
Can I ask too? I'm curious too as to how do you want us to treat? In other words, are we independent of Finley? Do you want us to work with him? Do we report findings to him?
Oh well, I mean, I don't know. Bethany's really in charge of all those sorts of decisions. But to me, you're just trying to find my husband.
Yeah.
You're not reporting to anyone, and
okay.
You're not working for Finley. You're working to find my husband. And
yeah. I just didn't want to step on any toes if he's.
Well, you could probably ask Finley, but at this point, he's just a glorified bodyguard. Mm-hmm. Half the reason I'm making dinner is because he sleeps out front of our house in the car. Mm-hmm. He's sitting there just making sure that no one does anything.
Well, that must bring you great peace of mind.
It does. But at the same time, Finley's not out there looking for Timothy.
Yeah.
Arthur's, Finley is here protecting us, which is, comforting. But at the same time, Timothy's out there, and I know that he's alive.
And you mentioned that that Bethany is a showroom singer. Is it, by any chance, is it jazz?
Yes, she does a lot of stuff. She wanted, according to Timothy, she wanted to do opera, but whatever makes money, I suppose. She didn't have the sort of opportunities that Timothy did, or even Arthur. She just kind of got into the theater background and began singing. And she just found herself mixing with the crowds of jazz and big band and stuff the young people like. And she kind of chuckles and says, I don't really care for much jazz music. I'm more of a book person.
What about your husband? Did he or Arthur like jazz?
Oh, he liked everything. He was very, very interested in art. Very interested. It's half the reason he's an architect. It's just because he can apply what he knows and what he's good at into something tangible. He didn't really like his work, but that's how we can afford to hire on 8 people looking for my husband at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
He made quite a bit of money. I don't know how much. We're getting money from the lawyers that's being just funneled from his account, but he made a decent amount, is what they tell us.
Would Timothy or Arthur be the type of person, or even you yourself with Timothy, would you guys go to like local jazz clubs, that sort of thing, or is it more just what you hear on the radio?
Usually what we hear on the radio. Timothy liked to paint to classical music, so we weren't really jazz people. Anything else, Tommy?
Yep, that was it.
All right. So Thompson, let's go back to you. What was the last thing that you remember me saying to you?
Yeah, I was picking up the item that dropped out of the box, and I was examining it, and that's when everything froze and crashed.
Okay, so what you've picked up is a brass medallion. So it's like a necklace. The ornament itself, the actual item, is just a piece of brass, a circular piece of brass that someone has etched symbols into. It is a 6-pointed star with symbols in the corners of the stars and like a circle of strange text in the very middle.
Does the star look like a Star of David?
Similar. It's similar, but not as concrete. It's not as uniform as a Star of David. And there was also a note. I have already read that to everyone here, but I'll read it to you because you didn't hear it. The note is, "Dearest Timothy, may my gifts lift your heart and spirit. Keep this close to you and know that I think of you often. Sincerely, Tally." Thompson, give me an occult roll.
Oh man, just missed it by 2.
Do you want to spend 2 luck points?
Sure, I'll do that. I'll do that.
All right. This symbol that's on the brass piece is a Solomonic pentacle. It's a sigil attributed to Jewish Kabbalists and Arab alchemists. The symbols are used specifically for evocation and protection. Do you have history or archaeology? I'm going to assume.
I have anthropology. I do have a bit of archaeology, though.
Do whichever one you think is best. I've got a cat meowing at the door that I got to let out. Excuse me for one moment.
I'll wait until you come back.
And that is a Solomonic pentacle, by the way. And the symbols in it, it's Star of David is different.
I got a 10 out of 71. So.
All right. Well, let me really quickly move this cat out. Let me pull up an actual image, a Pentacle of Solomon, really quick, because this is what it actually looks like.
Oh, like from the Key of Solomon.
Yeah, it is literally the Key of Solomon.
Not that I've done any evocations in my own.
Okay, so you passed your archaeology history?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me pull that back up. All right. So the lettering inside is Yiddish. So this is essentially, you know that this is a Key of Solomon. It's a Kabbalist item that is used for evocation or protection.
Now, I do have Aramaic. Which that I would know.
If you do know a little bit of Aramaic, no, they're similar but no cigar.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, so you have this item in your hand, and you also have the note that is tied to the necklace part. You're supposed to wear it, and it's a note for Timothy from a person named Tally.
I'll bring this to Hulk's attention. I don't know what Hulk was doing when I crashed, but I'll bring his attention, and I'll say, I don't know if our Timothy stepped out and met up with this Tally.
Yeah.
Tally. Looks Hebrew, Jewish. We don't know if Tally's a man or a woman. It could be Anatoly.
That's Tolly, not Tally. Tally, it sounds feminine to me.
Yeah, Thompson, you're an anthropologist. You know that Tally is literally Egyptian for a priest. Priest
or priestess.
It is the female version of priest.
There you go.
Yeah, it is a feminine name.
It's written in English.
The name is also Egyptian.
Ah. I tell you, this name happens to be Egyptian.
Well, it's an interesting piece. Looks kind of like a Star of David to me.
Well, if you know, and I'll go into sort of the anthropology of that. You know, they're all in and around the same area. They share similar cultures. So, yeah, the Star of David may have derived from...
Obviously, he didn't seem to believe in it because it was up in a closet somewhere.
Well, maybe he didn't want his wife to find this note. Maybe his wife might have figured that he might have been...
There's 1,000. He could have gotten this from a childhood friend at some point. So who knows?
It could have, but you know... And I lower my voice and I'm like, you know, his wife is pregnant, and sometimes, you know, with hormones raging, she might be a bit irrational at times, and, you know, he might have just been hiding it.
Then why would he keep it here? He could keep it at work.
But he works here, doesn't he? He does most of his work here.
He does some work here.
Okay, and I mean, but like
He's an architect, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of like point, you know, back at the room where he's doing most of his work, his artwork, more or less.
I don't know. I don't think we should read anything any more into it then.
Well, I mean, you're the detective. You know.
How do you know that it belongs to him?
It has his name on it.
Does it?
It says, "My dearest Timothy."
Oh.
May my gifts lift your heart and spirit.
What was his mother's name?
You don't know.
It could be his mother.
It could be Mother Teresa. I don't know if she's around this time, but
Just a little girl.
So yes, Fowler has called you. I don't know if you want to act on that.
Yeah. Well, initially I was acting on it. I just
let's go see what Fowler wants.
Well, he probably wants something for his next Pulp Fiction.
Let's just see what he wants.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys go downstairs, and Tommy, if I take a little bit of liberty with your character, as they walk downstairs, you guys see that Tommy is literally setting the table. He's like putting plates down and silverware.
Oh, jeez, he is going to give men a terrible name.
And I'm giving them all a dirty look.
People are going to start to think that soon we'll be making coffee. All right. So let's go find Fowler.
Well,
Where are you, Fowler?
We know what he could do for us. He can make our coffee for us when we need it.
You got it.
All right. So you guys enter from the living room into the study, and you see that there's a literal safe like sticking out of a wall, and Fowler's got a picture in his hand.
And I say to Henry, he probably didn't even wash his hands. Safe. Well,
that was
the master safe cracker.
Well, I can crack the safe. I wasn't calling you on there, Clifton, and I actually didn't. Well, I'm not going to go on there.
Why don't you just ask his wife what the safe combination is?
I could, and I'm going to stay here and until we're done this room. So, Henry, you found this one book.
You found the book, William?
Yeah. Professor Thompson, I found this book, and I show him the note, which is the translation, but I say I think it's Arabic or something. I don't know if you know languages.
I don't know language. I don't know Arabic, but from the translation, could this be like Dr. Thompson? Could this be like the Egyptian Book of the Dead or something like that?
Again,
kind of flowery language.
I only know like sort of dead languages like Aramaic, but Arabic.
But you've got a
derived from Aramaic.
You've got an English translation, though. You've probably seen an English translation of that.
Well, I'll look at the English. I'll study it to see if it's.
And what's this piece here? This with the Arabic writing on it.
Well, with Thompson with the book, it's very clearly written, almost poetically. From what you can gather, the name of the book is it's called where is it? The Book from Beyond. So there's the English translation, so you can kind of understand it, and you're just kind of skimming. What you can gather is it is a philosophy / spell book that's been claimed to have been transcribed by the scribe priest Tal Hafif in the 21st dynasty of Egypt under the authority of the high priest of Amun. You get that literally in the first 2 pages. Because it literally says in the first 2 pages, I am documenting this and the experiences of the high priest of Amun.
Okay.
And the ritual that they are about to undertake.
Can I do a bit of a history roll to see if I might be familiar with that particular dynasty?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
And I got a 26. A 26 out of, where's my history? I just had it. Here we go. 26 out of 45.
Okay. The 21st dynasty of Egypt, it took place between, I think, 1050 BC, and it's a 100-year period. So 1050 BC to 950 BC.
Okay.
And that's really it. It was under the reign of Ramses III. and it was essentially the high priests of Among. They were priests at Thebes that effectively ruled the Middle and Upper Kingdoms.
Okay, so that was around the biblical times where the Israelites were captive.
I believe Ramses III is theorized
as that particular pharaoh. Okay.
Yeah. Theorized. I don't remember if that's exactly. I remember it's one of the Rams.
Yeah. But it's been theorized and debated in history. Okay, so I have an understanding of that time period.
Yes.
All right.
It's all of those things that we would in the 1930s accept as fact.
Right.
Yes.
William says to the professor, what's interesting, Professor, in this note, it's been translated as it's discussing dreams and their kind of omens and such like. I just thought it might be interesting to you and Mr. Hawk.
I'll look at the area where it starts mentioning dreams, and I'll try to read a bit more carefully.
And Henry, can I have that medallion for a second?
Yeah. I'll hand it to him.
I just want to show it to William and say, hey, take a look at this.
Wow.
So the medallion is now out in the open, but Thompson, give me a language own, please.
Are you kidding me? Are you effing kidding me? A 98.
He's got aphasia. He just can't think of the word right now.
A 98. I literally have an 80 for my own language, and I got a 98.
Do you want to push the roll? I'm fine with you pushing it.
I'll push it. I've never pushed a roll before.
He's going to be speechless if he fails.
Don't do it!
That's a 60. Come on.
Okay.
It passes.
It passes.
Yeah, 69, so yeah.
The way that the text is worded, and I'll send it to you guys after we're done tonight. I'll just send you everything that we've gone over. The way it's worded, it almost sounds like the person who is writing is not the same person who is speaking in the text. It also reads like, was my cat has a little coughing fit.
I thought it was Wayne.
No, it's my little cat.
Like, holy crap, Wayne! What are you eating?
No, that's my cat. She's in the background. You can see her. She's right there.
Yeah,
it almost reads like this person is above the priests. He says, "Consider my words like honey, O priests."
And, so this is clearly a dictation.
Yes, it's very clearly a dictation, and also very mainly, listen to you gather your own interpretation from this. For even now there are gods unlike I, such as the twisting form of the beast Set.
Huh.
You gather your own interpretation from that.
Okay. Well,
you can say it out loud if you've got your own.
I mean, what I was thinking here is that the pharaohs of Egypt thought of themselves as gods among men. So, I mean, it could clearly be Ramses dictating this. But as far as this other thing about these other gods, I mean,
the Egyptians had many, many gods.
Yes, but this last part, I don't know. It just, I don't know. We've come across some strange things in the past, and I don't know. Maybe my mind is focused on that still. I'm wondering if it has any sort of correlation.
Is there? So with that, let's go back to Tommy because he's in the dining room. Samantha pushes open the door from the kitchen and kind of looks at you, Tommy, and says, "Dinner's ready. If you want."
Dinner's ready, everybody.
And she kind of tilts her head and smiles, like, "You don't need to shout. You just go get them." But she smiles and kind of retreats back into the kitchen. You guys hear Tommy shout at the top of his lungs, "The dinner's ready."
Jeez, Tommy.
Is there anything
no
you'd like
triangle?
Yeah,
Come and get
Tommy,
it.
please don't yell.
Well, we haven't had a chance to look at the safe yet, but I guess we can come back after dinner.
We can do it. I'll talk to Bethany.
William, we're not quite sure that everybody knows about that medallion. So maybe, I think that we should just ask.
William suggests to the professor to bring the book through as well, and we can ask the ladies whose book it is.
Is there a basement area to this house?
No, I don't believe most New York homes have basements.
Did they have attics?
Yes, but with a house this small, it's probably just like storage for like boxes for Christmas ornaments. That's really about it.
Okay.
Nothing significant.
All right. If the GM is saying there's nothing significant, then there's nothing significant.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, so everyone now knows the medallion, has seen the medallion. Would anyone like to do anything?
I'm gonna look at the medallion.
Okay.
You said that there was script written on it, though, right?
Yes, there is script written on it.
But it looks like Hebrew, correct?
Yes, it looks like Yiddish.
Yiddish.
It's Yiddish, not Hebrew.
Well,
right. Well, yeah, Yiddish is what more modern than Hebrew, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look that old.
No, it looks recent. But Yiddish is also used in Kabbalah practices, I believe.
Can I read it?
Yeah, you actually can. What is your Yiddish? What is the
50.
language? 50? Okay, so that's proficient enough. Yeah, it's essentially just it's just the Psalm of Protection over and over again. This is very clearly not used for like evocation. It is used for protection, and if it is worn, most likely it is to protect the wearer. Yeah.
Okay. It says it's for protection. That's the Psalm of Protection.
Well, if he was into this, I wonder if he has any literature on maybe Kabbalah practices or that sort of occult.
You can really quickly give me a library use roll if you'd like. This is
I haven't gone into the library. I'm sort of saying this out loud to those who actually went into the study. Did you guys see any sort of occultic books?
William, who looked through the bookshelves, did not find anything relating to Kabbalah. No alchemy from any Arabic priests or anything like that. It was mainly art, architecture, fiction, and then this book stuck out like a sore thumb.
Just to be clear, you guys are discussing this in the study.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Okay. I mean, we heard your call for dinner.
It's getting cold.
Would you mind getting me a pot of tea while you're at it, there, Tommy, old boy?
You bet.
Take what's served.
What kind of tea do you got there, Tommy?
The kind of tea that you'll take and drink and be happy with.
Dinner?
Wow.
Tea with dinner? No. Wine.
No wine.
William is happy to have a quick look back if he thinks that there's anything relating to the Yiddish and all that in the library before he comes through.
She's making fettuccine Alfredo and we don't have wine?
It's prohibition.
Yeah, but it's wine.
It doesn't matter. It's alcohol.
Yeah, these people aren't
jailbreakers. Yeah. Yeah, no wine. Water or Coke.
Well, William
Oh.
heads through with the medallion to show his good friend Tommy. Look what we found.
Okay, so William has walked into the dining room.
Yeah, I've walked into the dining room.
Okay, so
I thought we
so
were
you
in
guys,
the dining room.
well, you guys were in the study. You've now made. I'm guessing everyone's transitioning into the dining room at this point. So you guys walk into the dining room. Samantha is helping Tommy serve the food onto plates, divvy up the servings. And William just got the medallion in his hand. So
William walks in and says, "All powers of darkness be gone." No, he doesn't.
I'm like,
he's holding it. I'm not brandishing it. You know, like.
William.
Oh no.
I'm carrying it in my hand. Show it to Tommy.
As you walk in, Samantha kind of takes notice, and you can hear Bethany coming down the steps. And Samantha kind of looks and goes, "What's that?"
Well, we found a couple of odd things. Have you ever seen this before? Or do you know what this is? I point to the medallion.
No. And then she kind of leans over and says, "Bethany, do you know what that is?" And Bethany kind of walks around you guys and takes a look at the item in William's hand. She kind of shakes her head and says, "I have no idea. Where'd you find it?"
It's pretty. Maybe he liked it because it was artistic. Do any of you know somebody named Tally?
They both shake their heads, and Samantha says, "No. Why?"
We also have a book from his study. Looks like it's in Arabic. Did Timothy know Arabic?
They then kind of look at each other, and Bethany goes, "No, he didn't. What is this all mounting to? Did you find something?"
We don't know what it mounts to. It's a mystery.
Also, this might not be any of your we also found a safe in the study. I was wondering if you know if there's a combination.
Bethany kind of looks over at Samantha, because Samantha should know, and Samantha kind of shakes her head as she kind of sits down in one of the chairs. She says, "No, Timothy was pretty isolated when he went into his study. I had no idea that he even had a safe in there."
Okay. Is it okay if I try and try and open it, or do you have any
dynamite? Anybody got dynamite?
Well,
Fowler, if you want it open, you just have to ask.
The great Bamboni.
Samantha then kind of just.
You have to ask.
Samantha puts up her hands and says, "Go right ahead. The house is yours. Find whatever you need to." Marcus then walks inside. When he opens the door, and you can hear like the howl of the wind, and you can see that the full pack of cigarettes that was in his hand is like down to its last third. And he goes, "I'm gonna take a walk around the block, make sure no one's looking around." He then eyes Hawk, and he kind of does this, and he steps outside.
If you'll excuse me for a moment, please don't wait for me. Eat. So.
Yeah, I could eat.
I'm going to sit down to dinner. I'm still waiting for my tea, Tommy.
All right. So, Hawk, you step outside with Marcus. Then he closes the door, and he immediately sighs. And he sees you kind of like shuffling like you're cold, and he hands you a cigarette, and he says, "It'll warm you up. It won't take long."
Thanks. I'll just pull out my...
And he goes, "Listen, I can't thank you enough for coming. Honestly, I mean, I've been a little bit stumped here, and it's almost impossible to get work done when I've got 3 people. Well, I guess now 2 that are constantly afraid that someone's following them.
Marcus, let me ask you a couple of questions. How well did you know Arthur and Timothy?
I never met any of them. I've never met Timothy. Bethany and Samantha hired me probably around I'd say the 23rd. I've only been working this for about
March.
Yeah, I've only been working this about a week and a half.
What have you found? Have you found any interesting connections in this family, or any
Really,
Jewish connections?
No Jewish connections. There's plain as plain can come, from what I can tell. Not a lot of background on Timothy or Bethany, for that matter. Definitely weren't born in New York. Samantha was, though. Now, what I've gotten when I could do work, like I said, 2 days in, I was to the ground, nose to the ground, ear to the ground, asking around. I went to bus transits, the metro, trains, asking around. I thought it was a long shot, but like I said, we're looking for a needle in a needle stack of about 1 million other needles.
But that would be easy to find.
Yeah, it would be easy to find, except it's the one specific needle that this broad wants. She then kind of laughs and says, "No, but they're good people." But when I was doing my investigating, very first thing I thought was his office. He works for the city, and right now, the city is kind of, it's
He does have an office.
Oh yeah. He works here, and he kind of ruffles in through his coat, and he pulls out a crumpled up card and hands it to you. And he says, "Yeah, he worked in the city planner's office. He was the city architect."
Right.
But like I said, city's been a little up in arms. You know what's been going on?
Well, I know about the strike and everything.
Oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg. And he kind of leans back against the post and he says, "If you're ever going to work in this town, you need to know what's going on. All right?"
That's why I don't normally work in this town, but go ahead.
New York City Hall is being investigated by Governor Roosevelt. There's a judge. His name's Seabury. His main focus is the mayor, Walker. There's talks about him partnering with gangs, him using the police as his own hit squad.
Corruption. So it's like Chicago.
Oh, but less gangs, more just political corruption. This guy will do, and he's given favors to Rockefeller types, blackmail, extortion, whatever you want. He doesn't even live in a house. I'm pretty sure he lives in one of the fancy hotels that are around here. But everything's starting to kick off. City Hall is on lockdown. When I tried going into the municipality building where Timothy works, huge building, by the way, it's enormous, 40 stories. I've never seen anything like it. But you go in, cops everywhere. They're everywhere. They're lining the building, waiting for something to happen. And I went in there. I was asking some questions. They wouldn't let me up. No, they've taken all the floor numbers off of the walls. They've taken everything. They're not letting anybody into the building. You go through the lobby. Someone comes up to you, asks what the fuck you're doing. If you don't say, "I work for the city, I'm with the state investigator's office," they say, "Unless you got a subpoena, get the fuck out." So
they say fuck.
No, I say fuck. I go in there. I'm asking around. They kind of catch wind that someone's asking around about some guy that disappeared. I think, because they won't let me back in the building, but you guys can go. I think, though, something's going down with Timothy in City Hall. We're talking blackmail, extortion, murder. They're killing off their own people.
To be perfectly honest, it looks like he's got a lot more money than he would actually be making. So
that's what I thought. All of a sudden, Samantha says that the lawyer's telling her that a bank account in Timothy's name, it can be used, it can be accessed, but it's got to come through the lawyer. Look at that. They have enough money to put up Arthur in a really nice hotel. You were there.
Well, look at this place.
Well,
This is about as small as you can get. Of course, it's New York City.
Yeah. Real estate. But let me tell you, and he kind of looks around, and it's a neighborhood in Queens. Like, it's okay. It's an average neighborhood. It's an average suburbia. But it's just like, how Marcus then leans in and says, how could Timothy afford to put up his brother in the Bellevue and not even be here? Samantha doesn't know anything about his comings or goings. She doesn't know anything about his work.
Well, wait, Timothy's been missing.
Exactly.
So, and Arthur was just in the Bellevue recently.
Stay there. Yes. Think about what I'm saying here. How did they have that money?
Oh, I understand, but I'm not so sure that Timothy had anything to do with it. He was already missing.
Yeah, but Samantha's got no money.
Something's going on here that needs to be investigated, and we're working on it.
I'm telling you, it's right there. And he taps the card in your hand, which gives you the municipality building, which is on Central Street. He says, it's there. Ask around, see what you can do, but it's there. You're going to find something. But listen, I'm going to do a quick walk around, all right? And he kind of looks around.
Keep your eyes open.
And he walks around and says, oh, and talk to the neighbors, too. I didn't when I was here, but, maybe you can get something out of them. And he walks around. He walks away.
I'm going to go back inside and eat.
All right. So, dinners are started. They've said grace. Samantha is a Christian, very, very humble Christian lady, so they've said grace. And Hawk, you kind of walk in, and everyone's picking up their forks and digging in. Very nice meal. Chicken Alfredo is great. This is a good opportunity for you guys to just do whatever. Samantha and Bethany are eating.
So there's a couple of areas that we need to investigate. They might have no meaning whatsoever, but one is we can see if there's a Jewish synagogue anywhere nearby and see if we can identify the origins of that metal and who this Tally is. Another one is he worked at the municipal building. However, it's because of the current political and investigation and stuff going on, it's locked down pretty tight. It's possible we might have to sneak in, and by that I mean somebody needs to pose as somebody who works there and get upstairs. I've got the location of where he worked if we want to get into that office, but it's dangerous because
I want to point something out, Tom. On the card, all it has is Timothy's name, his position, and then the address for the municipality building. There's no office number.
We'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out.
That's what planning is for. I'm sure there's a directory somewhere. So that's an angle that we have to explore. Got the name of a jazz club. See where that's located.
Bethany kind of looks up from her plate and says, a jazz club?
Idle Jazz.
And they kind of look at each other and they shake their head. Where did you find that lead? Says
that was a matchbook in Arthur's pocket.
She kind of nods and continues eating quietly.
Can we do a bit of psychology to see if looks like she's more aware than she's giving away?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
I mean, you can just look at them and just tell that they are grief-stricken. They literally, like, Bethany just lost her brother yesterday. Like,
Yeah, fair
she's
enough.
sad. They're both extremely sad. They literally, if you remember in the last episode, they literally talked to him like 6 hours before he killed himself and said he was totally fine, which is why Bethany believes it's murder. So
Have we asked him about the book? I think we asked about the medallion, but
Yeah, they said they didn't know anything about it. When he went to work, did he have any kind of a tag or ID thing that he had to wear?
Samantha kind of looks up from her plate and says, "No, I mean he just worked there. He took the metro train from Queens across the bay, and then he'd take down, and then he'd just walk in if I knew anything." I don't know much about Timothy's work other than, you know, he brought a lot of it home. He spent a lot of time working on schematics late into the night, just because it's a very, we're talking about New York City here. There's over 1 million people that are, you know, constantly changing and renovating, and he's in charge of everything, basically.
Did anyone look at the plans in the study to see what the latest building was working on?
No, we did
don't
not.
think so.
Are there plans in the study?
Yeah, there's schematics, but they're just like, they're like in tubes. They're just like labeled.
We still need to look in the safe.
Yeah.
Who's gonna try to open that Bamboni?
Yep, shouldn't be too hard.
Well,
it's all pretty straightforward. You done one, you done them all.
Is it a combo lock or is it a?
It's a combination. Yeah. They're just, you know, as soon as you guys are done eating, you could easily just go back into the study.
Okay.
And remember that, you know, Felix tried. He found a checkbook. I don't know if he mentioned that in the study. I don't think he did.
Well, I mentioned it when I was comparing the handwriting.
Yes, that's right. It was
If
back
I didn't
there.
know about that, so some of you've told me about it.
Okay. So, yeah. Does anyone of the group have accounting or law? Of course, Tommy does.
I have
I've got law.
I have law.
Everyone who has accounting or law, make a roll.
Apparently, I don't know anything about.
24 out of 45.
Okay. So to everyone who passed, you guys kind of realize that with the help of a banker, you could trace the money from one account into the other account if it was cashed. It means getting the address, a name of the person Timothy paid. You literally would just go in and be like, here's the check information, and they would check the routing number and see which, because you have to route the money from one bank to another as long as you have the routing number for the check that was given. A banker could easily figure that information out.
Okay.
It may take time, but they could figure it out.
Well, let's go open up this safe.
All right, you guys eat dinner. It's great. You're filled. Marcus is back, by the way. He's come in and he's just like kind of scarfing down food because he literally ran around the block looking for anyone watching.
Okay.
All right, so you guys enter into the study. You're looking at the safe. Who would like to open it?
Yep. Okay.
Bam Bam. We're going to call him Bam Bam.
I could do it if Felix, I'm pretty sure he won't, but I will do it if Felix unsuccessfully cracks lock.
All right.
Ooh, my lock picking has actually grown quite a bit since.
Let's see, shall we?
All right, Bam Bam, let's see what you got.
I got 27 out of 60. That's hard.
That is a hard? Okay, good.
Yep.
So you do 11 to the left, you do 6 to the right, 4 to the right, and then 9 to the left. And pop, you hear it click. All right.
There you are. And Robert's sister's brother.
So you open it, and the only thing inside is a small leather ledger with a seal in the bottom right corner. It's the seal of New York City. It's been stamped on there. Okay. What would you like to do?
Hey, Tommy, you know your way around accounting, don't you? Bookkeeping and such.
Accounting, no.
In the last year, other than the whole Dexter Fowler show, I've been taking some accounting classes. So maybe I can look at that ledger.
Sure. Yeah, if you want to try.
Why don't you...
Or perhaps you should get somebody else to look at it, and then you could take the credit for it.
Very funny. Man!
Yeah, what he said.
Man, you're really...
Isn't that what
salty.
you usually do?
Just read the damn book.
Or do you need help with that?
Yeah, go on, Fowler. Look, use your magical Doc Savage style.
Just read the damn book.
Jack of all trade skills.
Well,
And cast your eyes over that.
Go.
I fail.
Okay. There's a lot of information. It's not surprised that you failed.
Paul, would you like to give it a try? Perhaps you might do a bit better.
I don't do great with numbers. I'll give it a try. I got a 49 out of 5.
Yeah, so the both of you, when you look at it, it's a huge, detailed ledger that's filled with document transactions, donations, payroll. Like, there's so many numbers being divvied up.
Bring it with us, and we'll have an expert take a look at it and tell us what it means.
If only we had like an accountant or an insurance adjuster or someone.
Well,
grab somebody.
The last one we had didn't work out too well for us.
Look, if you don't know what it means, then we'll just find somebody who does and have them interpret it for us.
All right.
Hey,
Well,
look, I opened the safe. I mean, like, safes I can open if I'd done what my mother said and become an accountant, I wouldn't have been able to open the safe for you.
So Bethany steps inside and she sees that you guys were holding the ledger. But she doesn't really pay mind to that. Instead, she says, it's a little late. We're planning on heading to bed.
We will leave immediately, and we may be back tomorrow, but we're going to start our investigation.
She nods and says, that's fine.
Thank you very much for a wonderful meal, and we will do our best to find your brother.
One last question for you both, if you can.
Bethany kind of crosses her arms and leans against the door, and she nods.
Do you or Samantha, do either of you recognize the name Roy Klein?
She kind of squints her eyes and says, it's a little familiar.
Bethany saying this?
Bethany.
Is it someone you perhaps met at some point, or can you place it?
Not really. It's a name I know, but I don't know why I know it or how I know it. But I recognize it. Then again, it could just be because, with my work, I meet quite a bit of interesting people, so I could have just picked up the name through talking with someone.
Okay, thanks.
She smiles and says, well, good night. You know where the door is. And she leaves. All right. And with that, we can end.
Cool. Good game. All right. Our players included Nick Swan, Jeff Wilkins, Corey Heisted, Ken Trench, Wayne Worthy, and myself, with Thomas McKeon as the keeper of the secrets. We're currently producing 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. We have a new patron tonight. Craig Carter has pledged $15 a month towards the production of our show. That'll really come in handy. Thanks, Craig.
Thanks, Craig.
If you would like to become a patron, visit our Patreon account. Just $1 to a month helps a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We love hearing from you. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.